Alrighty. Hey, there we go.
Hello.
What's up, Nick?
I'm all right.
You feeling all right?
Uh,
I'm gonna take that as a kinda.
it's been a long day.
It's been a long day. It's been a long day. What is that song? What is that?
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm going crazy. It's Sunday. My weekend's gone.
Oh, we're live, aren't we? Oh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, by the way, I forgot to tell you we're recording.
Oh. Sorry.
Yeah, so, how you doing?
I'm all right. I'm a little hungover, to be honest.
Oh? You care to explain yourself, sir?
No, I will. Well, we're coming up on the eve of Halloween, and
Yeah.
the weather forecast had said that there's supposed to be rain on Halloween, so a lot of people decide to go party now.
Oh, so you went to one of those Halloween parties, if you will?
Against my better judgment, yes.
You get forced into a Halloween party?
I can't say forced. I definitely...
Your arm got twisted.
Yeah,
lightly.
some
sort of
I got a
way.
nice Indian rub burn on my arm to go.
Hey, you can't say India. Is that a thing? Like,
Oh,
I know. Remember that? That was a South Park episode, the Washington Redskins.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
it's Redskins. Sorry, again, Indian Redskins. To me, they don't sound. Either one of them don't sound any more racist than the other.
No, it's indigenous rub burn now.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Just
thought
looked it up.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, I did. According to the leftist media,
you're
it says
fast.
indigenous rub burn.
Indigenous rug burn. Oh, that sounds so ridiculous. We have to change we have to change the way we talk now. Like, you can't say half the stuff. Maybe the half the stuff I say, because I say a lot of off-color stuff. I guess you could say. Maybe, I don't know.
Color off color.
Color.
It's like people of color or colored people. You can't say either or now.
Really?
Yeah, apparently that's a thing now. You like they say that they prefer people of color, but they're saying it's just as bad as colored people
That
now. So.
doesn't make any sense at all.
Nope.
Oh my God! So you went to a Halloween party.
I did. It was at a place called the Alexander Mansion in Dallas, over towards Highland Park. Yeah, it was pretty
Highland
cool.
Park.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Like an old style mansion where they had like that steampunk style metal piping in the showers and
Very industrial.
yeah, everything's
feel-y.
very old and old timey. But there's a bunch of DJs playing electronic
cool.
music. The irony.
That's funny. I get to, I spend a lot of time in Highland Park for my job, and I get to be in a lot of cool houses at Highland Park, and there are some interesting houses. Very interesting houses in Highland Park.
Yeah, I think we were talking about it earlier today. You were saying something about the rules and restrictions of the HOA on those now.
Oh, yeah. So you mentioned to me that the house was like a landmark, like a city
for sure,
landmark
yeah.
house. And I know for one that I've already been to. I think there's a few of them that are our customers at my work, and I've heard that you can't. They're landmark house. Again, I have no idea what that means, but they're very strict on what you can and can't change and do about your house, especially on the exterior of the house. They're weird they're weird. They're weird styles, and they're always really, really unique and different, but I don't understand it.
Yeah, you were saying something about excuse me. You were saying something about they're very, very particular about how you change the foundation of the home, or how you change the exterior, the interior,
Or just
you have
if
to
you
follow
were
certain rules.
Yeah, if you were just doing a remodel or something, I'm sure they would have to be very I don't know how
Within certain guidelines.
Yeah, there's they limit you on what you can change as far as the exterior and the interior, probably more so the exterior. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was really weird.
Yeah, that's crazy to me to think about. I mean, obviously, if I owned an old mansion that I felt was haunted, that'd be kind of weird.
Yeah, well, some of those people, they have multiple houses, so they probably could care less. But I will say, I'm not a homeowner yet. I would like to think I'm going to be able to be a homeowner here in the near, I don't know, hopefully the near future. I don't know. But some organization telling me what I can and can't do with my own house. I get the logic behind it. You know, I don't want to look like I don't want to live next door to a trashy home. You know, I get that.
No, of course not. Yeah.
But you know, someone telling me what I can and can't do to the exterior of my house, that I do kind of. I just feel like that's the government telling me how to live my life, and
of course it is. Of course it is.
I don't want anyone telling me what I can and can't do to my house.
No, I see that.
Especially when I pay an ass ton of money for it.
Yeah, I could see that.
So, yeah, that's cool. Did you get a little wild, a little crazy this morning?
Yeah. So I went to it with good intentions because it's a charity event for a Halloween party, and who doesn't like dressing up in a costume and
charity and
having a couple drinks. But
hey, yeah, we'll just leave it at that.
We'll leave it at I had a few and I'm a little hungover. So excuse my coughing and whatnot in the background.
Oh my god. Okay, that's cool.
I'm trying to avoid it. I'm sorry.
You're fine. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Halloween. I think I want to say I was not even the last year, possibly 2 years. I wasn't even home for Halloween. But then again, I live in an apartment, so I don't think people really go to apartments for Halloween.
Not normally, no. I'm not surprised though. You never seem like the Halloween type.
No,
which is weird. It's almost like a. I don't know.
That
it's like a special event for people. Halloween has just exploded, and now it's all of a sudden like it's like the most important holiday of the year now. It's weird.
Huh. So I had just real quick. I had an old boss, long time ago, who used to tell me that he did not allow his kid to participate in Halloween because it's a satanic holiday.
Oh, I remember that back in like the early 90s, early 2000s. This may have been later, but I just remember Halloween used to be so badly looked upon because it was considered a satanic holiday. And now you look at it, it's just nothing but people dressed up in memes.
yeah, because you can thank the internet for that one. But yeah, I don't know. I thought that was really weird. I'm like, that's the last thing a kid is gonna think about. You know what I mean? Like,
no, all they think about is the candy.
Yeah, they in their mind they're dressing up as someone. Oh, that's another thing I want to get to at some point. They're dressing up as whoever they want to be for Halloween and going around and collecting candy in a giant effing pillowcase.
Yeah,
like what kid would not want to do that? I don't understand. I don't know.
No, it's interesting, and I feel like the internet, especially within the last decade, has definitely helped Halloween grow. It used to be you had your very typical costumes between vampire and a zombie, and all those kind of different costumes that are kind of typical, and they've been that way for a while. And now with the internet, you have all sorts of people dressing up as memes, Fortnite characters. Oh, I know sometimes it's pretty cool. Like you see like Rick and Morty. Costumes, and for people who don't know that show, it's an Adult Swim show, and it's
Rick and Morty. Yeah,
quite a cult show now.
I've never watched it because my view on those shows, but I'm a huge watcher of South Park. That's really all I watch. Like when it comes to, I don't know why. Just I have so much respect for the creators of South Park. But anyways, yeah, I don't listen to or I don't watch a ton of those weird cartoons that like I swear to God every like all those cartoons, they have to be, the creator of those cartoons all have to be on drugs, like all of them, or they're just incredibly or used to be. Like I don't know, like if you watch like I don't know that show or Futurama, or like they've got to be on some serious like psychedelic drugs.
I guess it really depends on how you look at it. I mean, Dan Harmon from Rick and Morty, and who's the creator for Futurama? He did another show very similar, but these people, they're very creative, and if you they've got some interesting psychedelic creative ways of portraying characters in the show, but if you look at the underlying tone or the message of the episode, it's actually pretty interesting if you look into it.
Maybe I'm just too dumb to get it. I don't know. I'm too stupid to get the. Well, if you really look into this particular episode of Futurama, you'll notice that what it does, what this stands for. It's a Oh hell, I don't know. It's got a certain subliminal meaning to it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just too dumb, and
Well, a
South
lot of
Park
those
is a little
shows-
easier to kind of figure out.
I feel like South Park is more blunt with its satirical comedy.
Oh yes, that's why I
whereas
love it.
Some of these other shows are more. I don't know.
They're not as obvious about it.
They're not as obvious about their
Again, maybe that's because
satire.
I'm too dumb, or I'm just too dumb to get it.
Maybe.
South Park, you know. I love that show. There's so many good things. They just they're so current. They make fun of everything, the left and the right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's great.
Well, and it's
I love
interesting
it.
how much traction that show has caught, and the controversy that South Park used to be how out of bounds and outside of the limits that show would go. I feel like people are more controversial in opinion on that show because it's not the same as it used to be.
Yeah.
I've heard more comments and more flack for that show just because of how much has changed over the years. I mean, it's been going on for what, like 25?
Not quite.
20 years or something like that?
23-ish, I think. I think we're on season 23, so somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Not quite as old as you and I, but damn near.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive because not a lot of shows are around that that.
And you'll get the people who've, like you hear the people who are like, oh, I had the original tape for the Christmas Story for South Park. And of course, those
Yeah.
people have been around since the beginning like that. Of course, they're going to critique the show a lot more. But
They're like almost 40 now.
yeah. So obviously those people have their opinions, but the show has taken different turns, and I think it's still a great show.
Bless you.
Thank you. Sorry for that.
We are human, Nick. Yeah, it's okay if you sneeze. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm gonna kick you in the nuts for it, but I don't care.
Yeah, I guess you could just, you could edit that out, but, then that'd be more fake. Hashtag fake news.
We're not. Yeah, we're authentic here, Nick. I don't care.
Yeah, humans make errors, and we're going to include it.
Yeah, we're all flawed, Nick.
That's why I'm still here and I'm hungover.
Yeah. Wait, yeah. He didn't want to.
The show must go on.
I'm too hungover. I didn't want to hear. I was halfway expecting that hear that from you, but
I figured as much, but I wanted to prove you wrong. The
No,
show
well,
must go on.
I appreciate it, Nick. I really do.
The audience, I'm sure, appreciates it as well.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
beautiful voice.
Yeah.
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 People just can't not listen to it. It's soothing to the ears.
It's soothing.
Speaking of that, just a quick tangent. Have you seen the trend of ASMR that's growing in the YouTube
God.
and social media?
Yes, and I want to kill myself.
It's awful. It's so bad. People are just whispering into the mic.
God, stop! I'm gonna punch you in the face.
Just listen to me. Just
Oh my God.
shut up. Just listen to me, please. Okay. All right. Does it feel good in your ears? It's horrible. I hate every bit of it.
yeah,
and obviously I do it ironically, but it's
It's
horrible.
like people smacking their food or
Yeah, they
sucking
just
their
do the
teeth.
most
It's
weird things just to
I want to. Yeah.
It's borderline cringy, and I hate it so
really
much.
is. It's god awful. Oh yeah. So one of the things I wanted to ask you about. So again, I don't know a ton about this story, but one of the things I did there was again I think it was NBC or something like that. Some girl just got hired on a news station. I think her name was like Megan Kelly. I don't know. Anyways, she just got let go or fired, whatever you want to call it, from some news network, and she just got hired, I think, because she made. You were talking about dressing up for Halloween, and that's what got me thinking about it. Was she made some sort of I think it was a little bit ignorant, I think, just because she didn't know the history of it, I guess. But the whole blackface thing, where like a white person will put, colored their face essentially for Halloween, to dress up, And the way she said it was, because I think it was a tweet she put out, and she was essentially saying, I don't think there's anything wrong with, coloring your face to, especially for younger people, like kids, maybe, I don't know, to color their face to dress up or try to look like or impersonate, someone that may be black or someone of maybe of another ethnicity, to, I guess, like, because you admire them or something, because you want to dress up as them or whatever. And she caught so much hell. She seriously got fired. Like, she got let go. Because again, I get that there's a history with, the whole, blackface thing. I think it was pretty frowned upon to do.
You know where that came from, right?
I don't. I know it's I know it was pretty frowned upon, back, in the 1960s, 50. I don't know.
So,
a long time ago.
So
Nick,
a long time
before
ago,
I was born.
Yeah. So a long time ago, back when they used to have theatrical plays, they wouldn't allow black people to be in the same plays as white people. So the white people had to paint their faces black to portray a black character in a play. And that's where that term blackface came from. Obviously, it turned into something much worse as time progressed.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't there. But from what I've read and from what I understood, it wasn't any harmful intent other than the fact that it was a bad thing that they wouldn't allow black people to play in plays with them at the same time. But that was a different time. But, again, it's just actors trying to portray another character, and I think that's where it turned into the thing that it is now, unfortunately.
Yeah, and again, I get the sensitivity of the topic, but the way she said it, you could clearly tell that she had no intent of being racist or whatever, and she even apologized for it too. And of course, that was how it always is nowadays.
Yeah, it's sad nowadays.
It's like just put me on the guillotine, on Twitter. I'm sorry, I should have known better, and the whole, I need to learn that it's a very sensitive topic, and I mean, unfortunately, that's you got to be like that because you're on the effing news, but. Still, I was just like, I was blown away. And what's funny is I think she had just signed like a contract for like $70 million.
Jeez.
So
wow.
They fired her. And as long as they can't catch her on some sort of technicality with whatever that contract is, they're going to have to pay her all that money. Yeah.
Wow.
Again, I'm sure they're going to launch some sort of lawsuit to try and catch her on a technicality because that's a lot of money. A lot of money. But to just hire someone, sign a contract, thinking that this is going to be a real good hire, for our news station, and then they are like forced to fire her because of some sort of half-assed, quote unquote racist comment, which again, I get the topic, I get the history behind it, but Jesus Christ, like, you really, like, you're gonna fire someone over that, even after she apologized to you? Like, that's so stupid.
Yeah, there used to be a day where somebody could make a mistake and they would catch a lot of flack for it,
and not even apologize. But again, this is it's on Twitter, so it's like, oh, you gotta I gotta stab myself in the chest, and I'm just gonna bleed all over Twitter, and because I have to apologize and I have to make everything right, but that usually never even helps.
Well, and I'm not gonna say that there aren't a lot of black people on social media that definitely were outraged at the situation, but I'd be willing to bet that a lot of the people that were outraged were a bunch of white people, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's amazing how so many white people are ashamed of their own ethnicity.
Yeah.
Ashamed of being white males, as we made that joke in the last episode of, white males, so therefore privilege.
By the way, I'm still looking for that.
Yeah, you let me know if you ever find it.
Don't hold your breath.
Okay. But yeah, it's so funny how there's so many people, white males, white people in general, they want to speak on behalf of every other race that they're not, and just sacrifice themselves. Like, it's like, oh, you're white. Meanwhile, they're white, but they're trying to condemn every other white person in the world. And I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, it's okay to be proud of your ethnicity, but see, that's the thing. It's, if you're white, you can't be proud of being white because that's racist. Anymore.
Yeah.
But anyways, Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's that whole. I was listening to that on a couple other podcasts and saw that on the news briefly, and I was just like, damn, that's wild.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up sometimes.
It really is. That's why, again, I probably got a lot of that wrong. I don't know, but that was from what I gathered.
Yeah.
from that story, and I was just like, damn, that's wild.
Well, that's why I haven't talked about the caravan yet, because I haven't read enough on it to even know what's going on. I'm sure we'll have an episode to talk about it. I just need more research.
All I know about that is, the whole, as you would probably guess, Nick, I am for enforcing our border laws.
I didn't. I wouldn't. I wouldn't have guessed that.
No, yeah, don't say. I know, and again, I love the argument of, it's immoral to these people. They need into our country because they're escaping they're refugees and they're escaping a terrible place. I get that, but here's the thing: if you want to come running into another country, I'm very, as Ben Shapiro talks about a lot, he would consider himself a libertarian as far as letting people into the country, but you have to do it on a case by case basis, which is very hard to do. I get that, but you can't just let anyone in the country that wants to come here. You have to do it in an orderly fashion, and I know that takes a long time, but to just let anyone in, that undocumented people, just absolutely screws the economy up.
Yeah, I agree with you, and here's the one and only thing I'm going to say on it, and whether you agree or not. If you're going to come, the key word is assimilate. And a lot of these minorities who are coming into our country, which is fine, and people are making the argument of the melting pot,
regardless of their race. I don't care what race you are. But go ahead.
If you're a minority and you're coming over to another person's country, it's called assimilation. And a lot of people don't look at it. They look at America as a place where you're not supposed to assimilate, and you bring all your cultures, and then that ends up dividing us as a country.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go to like China, or if you go to some other country that's on the eastern side of the world, they make you speak their language.
Yeah.
They make you respect their cultures. If you go to Japan, you take your shoes off when you walk in a door. You leave them at the front door. You wear sandals, and you walk up and you sit at a table. Like,
you participate in their culture.
Again, the key word is assimilate, right? Like, you're assimilating to that country, and for some reason, America is the only place in the world where you're not allowed to do that anymore.
It's supposed to be the exception, which is complete crap.
Yeah.
Like, you come to this country, you should come to this country willing to accept our culture and our way and our ideals and our way of life in America. Don't come here, like you mentioned the caravan thing. There's people coming in carrying their country flags. Like does not, like, you're trying to escape that shitty country that you just tried to flee from, and trying to come into our country, yet you hold the, I don't know, Honduran flag or whatever the hell it is. I'm just like, what? Like, I don't get it. It's very aggravating.
Yeah.
But that's something we can talk about at length more, especially when we have certain particular people on. Yeah.
So, again, that was the last. I'm going to leave that at the last thing I'd say about that particular subject. And when it comes to the caravan stuff, I'm in a full agreement with you. I'm waiting to get more information and research on this topic before getting more in depth. But since we're on the topic of politics, I think you said you had a question for me.
So what I wanted, I was curious about, and this just popped up in my head. So I don't know how long. I have an idea of how long you've kind of really gotten into politics and followed elections and all that stuff. I guess it's kind of a two-part question. One, how long do you think you've kind of cared about politics? When do you think you really started getting into it and started really caring and paying attention to stuff? And here, and I'll let you answer that, and I got another question for you after that.
All right, fair enough. When did I get into politics? If I have to think about a time where I started to care about it more, I'll be honest, I think it was probably around the time that Obama came into office.
Really?
So like 2008. And I don't want to say I was into it as much as I am now. Excuse me.
Yeah, same here.
You know, obviously I'm way more into it now. I'm following people who are, political figures, public figures that are on the conservative, spectrum. But I started noticing it because, obviously the people that I'm around, my family and all that kind of stuff, because I come from a conservative family. But I feel like Obama's first election was one of those where it was kind of, I felt like a warm-up period. There was like, oh my God, it's our first black president.
Yeah.
What are we going to do?
It was the first different.
Yeah,
it was real big difference.
It was huge
in a presidency
for being the first black president. The whole country was in awe, and they were like, "What is he gonna do?"
Yeah.
So
this is gonna be big.
Yeah. So that's when I started to take notice. I guess is when I first started to take notice. Would be the best way to explain it. It wasn't until his second election where I was like, "All right." It was 2008. It was what 2012. Yeah, I can't do math. So 2012, I guess. Excuse me again.
I got reelected at the year we graduated high school. Oh my God, Nick.
Yeah.
What has happened?
I know. So he
Time flies.
gets back into office, and I've got family members that are pretty conservative, and I found out that they voted for Obama. And I guess if you look at it from the opposition of a candidate from Obama, I could see how people could still vote for him. I guess it wasn't seeing him come into presidency, it was very apparent with the uprise of social media and Obama and the Black Lives Matter movement. That's when politics started to become important to me, because I saw a president that I was growing up with do what he did to the country. I mean, prior to Obama, I'm not going to say that we didn't have our, political differences as a country and that we weren't split, but I feel like it started to grow and grow and grow during those 8 years that we had Obama as president.
Yeah.
And it just got so bad towards the end of his presidency. I mean, Black Lives Matter was at its peak. You had riots everywhere. Yep. And then I'm not going to say that we're
the
not
shooting in Dallas.
Yeah,
was that not under his presidency? I'm pretty sure it was. It definitely was.
Absolutely
it was. Right before. Yeah, it was during the very end, because I think the 2-year anniversary that just passed not too long ago.
Yeah.
Which was crazy, because that was that was definitely it was fueled by the whole Black Lives Matter thing, which is another topic in its own. It's very silly.
Yeah. So
not saying that Black lives don't matter, Nick. All lives matter.
All lives matter.
But please continue.
But I digress. So I guess that's when I started to get into politics, and I started I noticed that the only outlet of information I can get that followed along with my beliefs was Fox News. And be it as it may, Fox News at the time was the only voice of reason that I could ever get across to
for the most
to
part.
learn and share my ideals that I had held so dear and so close to me. But again, social media started growing, and I started noticing trends on social media where you'd start seeing conservative public figures grow in the social media market. I think that's where things have started to grow so much in our favor. I'll have to put the link to the article I found out, but there's this statistic that the younger generation, I guess Generation Z or whatever it is now, is probably one of the most conservative generations we've had in the last, I don't know, since Reagan. And it's because of the growing trend of public and political figures on social media, such as YouTube, where you find Steven Crowder, you find Milo Yiannopoulos, you find Ben Shapiro, like you find all these great politicians and public figures who started out so small in YouTube that what they're doing is they're actually giving the conservatives a voice. And when you start to give them a voice without an agenda, like the media outlet, like Fox News, you start to see a growing interest in the younger generation, simply because this younger generation doesn't care about going to Fox News or CNN or ABC or MSNBC. They want to go on YouTube. So they see all these public figures coming out. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And it gets them interested, gets them riled up. They're like, wow, somebody who can actually speak on behalf of me, and they're not, there's no agenda behind it.
Yeah. And I think, and because people, I would definitely say people don't trust the media as much as they used to.
No.
That's probably to put it lightly. But I know I don't. But I think that's also maybe a contributing factor of why the left and the right is getting so polarized, because everyone's going to the outlet that they want to hear. And I'm guilty of it too. I'm sure you are too.
Oh, of course.
But that's just because we want to, I would this is me thinking too much of everyone, but I listen to very right-wing podcast as well. And the little amount of news that I will catch, whether it be at work or whatever. But I think because we go to those outlets, of the stuff we want to hear, that does contribute to the polarization. But what I was going to say is, like I said, I'm guilty of it. Jesus, I forgot where I was going with that. But see, this is maybe I'm not the one. I know I'm not the one hungover, but I don't know. That's just I feel like that can contribute to the polarization of the left and the right, because it definitely is happening. You know?
Well, and give it like 5 to 10 years ago, the only way people got any information was really only through major news outlets, and the majority of them are more liberal.
Yeah,
right?
They definitely are.
So, and I've noticed a trend too where
they have an agenda, Nick.
I've talked to adults, I guess. Not saying that I'm not one, but I've talked to people who are 10, 20 years older than I am, and they're like, I just don't know about Trump, and I'm like, I'm over here, and I'm over here like, Daddy Trump, I love you. Well, I just want to worship the ground he walks on.
You sound like Milo.
And I say that, I say that kind of ironically as a joke, but
definitely that again, don't take things too seriously, Jesus, people.
I know, but these adults, these parents, these people that are older, they're only getting their information from Fox News or from other major news outlets, and they're not seeing how the country is reacting to it because they're not on social media like we are. And that's where they get that stupid term, the millennial. But if you start to own it and say that, I'm part of a millennial and I'm getting more information, I'm getting more newsworthy. I'm getting more in tune with politics, and it's because of social media. I think there's been a good growth in social media getting more people interested in politics because of these people who can speak out, and you don't have to rely on these news networks that could be just trying to get information as quickly as possible and not actually doing the research behind it. It's crazy.
Yeah, and then that's funny. What I was going to say, that reminds me of what I was going to say earlier, is like, we go to these outlets, we go to the, whatever podcast we may listen to. I like to think maybe better of people, but, based off of some of the ridiculous left-leaning people that are obviously left-leaning people, that you see on TV. I go to I listen to my podcast, and I listen to it because I also like to try to make my own ideas and how I view certain topics and make my argument stronger, when it comes to, and again, I'm thinking maybe people that are very left-leaning do the same thing, but again, and this is me being biased, I like to think that the right is a little bit more logic and fact-based, whereas the other side is a little bit more emotional based.
For the most part, I do agree with you.
Again, I'm biased. I know that they're probably going to say the exact thing, or the exact opposite, sorry, but I'm just like, it's really, when you see some of the idiot people that are banging on doors of, government buildings and stuff right after that Kavanaugh thing. Oh my God. Like, people were just going nuts and losing their godforsaken mind. I don't know. Anyways.
Yeah. Social media to me is a double-edged sword. You have the good side of it to where you get a lot of people coming out of the woodworks and voicing their conservative opinion, but
which can be good or bad.
But it can also fuel the fire towards the left because of the amount of voices that can be heard on social media. So it's definitely a double-edged sword. I mean, I'm not going to say that there aren't a couple exceptions to the conservative figures like Paul Joseph Watson and Milo Yiannopoulos who definitely go against the grain for being a conservative figure.
Yeah, they definitely say some stuff that's a little over the top. But again, I know for the most part, I know just about how I feel on almost all, every hot topic or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I may not agree with some stuff that he says, obviously. Like, there's some stuff that I'm just like, oh, yeah, he probably shouldn't have said that. But again, there are some things that I don't agree with Ben Shapiro on. And you know me, I'm a very huge listener of his show.
I know you are.
But, there's some things that I don't agree with him on. We're all people. We all have our own voice. Like I said, some people probably shouldn't. But, on social media, like you said, that it gives everyone a voice. Whether it be, and that can cause some good things and that can cause some horrible things.
Yeah.
People to say some crap that they probably shouldn't. They don't need to be saying the crap that they say. But again, free speech, whatever,
Well,
I'm for it.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it is, reliant on free speech. But it's funny, like for Paul Joseph Watson and, Milo Yiannopoulos, I feel like they're just getting the attention because they're purposely trying to troll. They're purposely trying to get people agitated over the things that they're doing just because it creates attention. I mean, the thing I learned in advertising was, bad attention or bad news is good news.
Yeah. What is it? Bad publicity is
bad publicity is good publicity.
Yeah, or it's any public or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like you said, last episode, it's just to put it in your mind, just to get your attention.
Yeah. All it's doing is getting people's attention.
Any publicity is good publicity, I guess. I don't know. But,
yeah.
Anyway, so I would definitely say that I would say I probably at least paid attention to politics when Obama was in office. But when Trump started running for president and everyone laughed at him and doubted him and literally there were people in on the news and whatnot that were like, Donald Trump will never be the president of the United States. And it's just the biggest troll of he just sitting back there taking it, and what do you know? He's the president of this great country of ours.
Yeah.
Which is great. It's just the biggest FU. It's the biggest troll of, I swear, that like in history. But again, I think he's doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, and again, it depends on where you get your information from.
Definitely.
If you look at it from major news outlets, then of course, even Fox News talks crap about, Trump. And it's just like, at that point, it almost looks like nobody wants him. But if you look at it from a social media perspective, then some people are like, he's
clearly
obviously doing some great things for the country.
His approval rating is, from last I heard, it was the highest it's been. It's going up. And, guess what? Because guess what? The world's not ending.
Yeah. Well, and again, a lot of these kids grew up, through the Obama administration, and they saw how torn apart the country was. And they're seeing, obviously, if you look at it from a social media perspective, the country still looks like it's at its worst it's ever been. But at the same time, like, you're getting people interested in voting now. I don't think I've ever seen or heard of this many people going and voting just for a local election.
Yeah, like me and you just went and voted.
Yeah.
I heard that. I was worried we were gonna have to wait in a line, which thank God we didn't. But I was just like, I had heard that the voting, the turnout was just crazy.
Yeah,
because again, it's getting polarized, so people are just like thinking of the other side, like they cannot be elected, so they just go out and vote for their side or whatever. Which is again cool. You have the right to vote. Go vote.
Yeah.
But again, I think there was a reason why Trump got elected. Because people are, I would think they're probably tired of the crazy, Again, he says some dumb stuff. I get it. I will be the first one to tell you that he says some silly stuff, but it's a package deal. It comes with the package. Like, he's, as far as, like, so some of the stuff he said about women, like, I get that it's not the greatest, although some of it can be kind of funny. I'm not going to lie. But, but as far as his policy goes, I haven't been terribly disappointed. But what I was going to say is that was really when I got that was definitely like when I got interested and really started caring about politics and realizing that I am pretty right leaning.
Yeah, you don't say.
Hey, you are too. Don't be ashamed of it.
Oh, I'm not ashamed.
Okay, good. Second question I had for you was, I was just thinking about this the other day. Like, I don't remember this being the case when we were in high school. Again, I know, Obama got reelected in his second term the year we graduated high school. So, go figure. I don't remember this being such a crazy polarized thing. Like, I don't remember a bunch of progressiveness or whatever you want to call it. Is that how you say it? Progressiveness? I don't care. I didn't go to college. Remember, Nick? I don't remember this being like, political correctness and progressiveness and, you can't say this and that, just being a real important deal in school. And I get it. It's high school. Not a lot of young kids care, especially at that age, but still, like, did we just like skate by? Like, so like we were on just the tail end of the normal, and then after we graduated, it just like shit hit the fan, or it's like everyone's crazy now. Like, again, I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but I feel like there was not a lot. Like, there was shit hit the fan after we graduated. Maybe that was it. We were the class of the century, Nick. After 2012, the world was supposed to end in 2012, but it didn't, and maybe this is the world ending.
Maybe. Yeah. If you could look at it from that perspective, absolutely. No, it's something I've brought up to people before is the the generational gap or the generational split. Like I've got friends or family that were born 2 years after me, right? So 93 is supposed to be the cutoff, I believe, for the generation that we're in, Gen Y or however you want to put it.
I lost count. I really don't know anything about that.
But it's interesting because, I've talked about this a million times, and of course there's people that are older than me who laugh, but, like, we've probably touched on this before, but we still grew up enough during the dot-com boom where we still had DSL, we still knocked on each other's doors, we still called using landlines, we still played outside.
I knocked on your door I not you, but I went and knocked on people's doors to be like, hey, can so-and-so hang out?
I certainly did that. Well, and it's interesting. I'm not going to say that the people who are 2 years younger than me didn't do that, but in that 2 years, things changed so much where they started growing up with technology at a much more developmental age.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it started to grow into the education system, and I think that's where it grew into where we're at now, because we graduated in 2012.
Yeah.
And like you said, it was the class of the century, and I feel like we did really skate by the last minute, because it wasn't until after that where we started noticing a growing trend in, in the progressive movement and feminism and stuff, and it's wild.
And people getting called a Nazi.
Yeah. Well, and you give so many people a voice now on social media, that's what you're gonna get. But it's wild. Social media was still in its developmental stage. I mean, if you look at how YouTube used to work, if you look at how Twitter used to work, Facebook, and God forbid MySpace.
Oh man,
it was used so differently now than it is now. I mean, look at the algorithm for YouTube. It used to be based on the quality, but now it's based on posting stuff every single day. It's like if you don't post every single day, your channel won't grow, which doesn't give a whole lot of people to actually create quality content. It's mainly just vlogging and podcast and
quantity over quality.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, hopefully this podcast we'll be doing the just the opposite. We'll be doing quality versus quantity.
Yeah, exactly.
At least for right now.
It's something fun for us, right? It's there's no monetary gain for it. If it comes, it comes, but we're in it for the fun. Yeah. We've always wanted to do something to voice our opinions and kind of go back and banter and rant about the things that we care about and we're passionate about.
Yeah. And just real quick, I know this was you mentioned you grew up in a conservative family. I would like to think I did too. Like both my parents are pretty conservative, but my dad will he'll told me that they tried to not involve a lot of politics in my upbringing, which I guess I get that. So I guess my parents are just really, they're really confused on how I ended up so right-leaning. When because my dad jokes with me, he'll give me crap and, it'd be like, how did you're alt-right. I mean, he's joking obviously because, we kick each other in the nuts a lot, but, it's like, oh, you're so alt-right, and I'm just like, no, I'm just conservative. I'm just, I guess, not norm. I guess not the norm. I don't know, but yeah. So like they tried to leave they would tell me that they tried to leave politics out of my upbringing, if you will, which I thought, I guess they did a good job, because, they didn't, I guess there was no crazy stuff that I can remember that they were like really adamant about, as far as like hot topics. But
Well, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but so after 2012, you graduated high school, and so you tried first semester at Collin, and then you basically went to Media Tech right after that, right?
I was at Collin College for 2 semesters. Like my
so
first
about a
semester,
year.
yeah. So my first semester, I won't spend too much time on this. I don't want to get back into school.
Yeah.
And I know you're probably dying over there, being hungover and all.
Maybe. But no, I feel like once you got out from your parents' household, and nothing against them, but I feel like once you got out of that and you were around your friends and around the work environment, that's when your political.
Well, that's when you move out of your parents' house. You move out of the dictatorship and realize that capitalism is awesome.
Yeah.
After you start working full time, and you realize that you got freedom, and you can buy whatever you want. You work hard for your money, like you said. You realize the value of your dollar. I don't know. Maybe that has something to do with it. But anyways,
Yeah.
I went to Collin College for 2 semesters, and I went there, like I said, just going for the basics, like everyone does, because at that point in time, I was like, oh, I need to go to college.
Yeah.
Then I shortly realized after that it's probably not the best route for me. But
right.
Yeah, I went there. I took some crap math, reading, writing classes, English, blah, blah, blah. And I wanted to kill myself. But one of the electives, good Christ. The electives I took was that audio engineering class, which I absolutely loved. And then I realized, hey, I really like this. I want to do this. Maybe this is something I can do for a career. And that's when I dropped every other class. I dropped math, English, and all that crap that was not needed in my education. But and then I took my next semester. I took like all of the other classes that were like in that certificate program, because they offer an audio engineering certificate program.
Right.
So I got probably halfway through it, because it was another 2 semesters. And then I realized I should maybe go to another different school, a better one, more recognized, if that's something I wanted to do for a living, especially in that industry. Good Lord, that's one thing I do appreciate about being in the industry I'm in now. A lot of the fundamentals are the same. That's why I don't regret going to that school, Media Tech. It was great. But a lot of the fundamentals are still there. Stuff I learned there I use every day, for the most part. But the industry I'm in now is very stable. It's going to be here for a long time. And dude, doing music industry, like being an engineer for like music recording studios, is incredibly hard to make a living off of.
Right.
So yeah, I went there for 2 years. And how did we get on this subject?
So the reason why I got it there is because I feel like your political enlightenment, if you will, is probably grown after moving out of your parents, because you're around
definitely.
your friends and you're around other people who were a bit more political.
Yeah.
And that kind of got you interested in the topic and kind
Yeah, in our case, I'd
Yeah.
say so. Yeah, I definitely would. Yeah, I would say that's probably a big part of it. I mean, you, me, our group of friends, we're all pretty right-leaning. So that's probably a good amount of why we all have those same ideas and feel the same about a lot of stuff. Was probably our group of friends, one of them for sure. I don't know. Why did I end up so alt-right, Nick? Can you answer that?
Again, I think it's just, you had mentioned being in a house where your parents had kind of shielded you from politics. I feel like...
I wouldn't say they necessarily shielded me. It's just that, well, maybe.
But I feel like...
They tried to keep stuff out.
Yeah.
Like they just kind of... They didn't want to... They didn't want to impose any crazy bias on me.
And that's why
Maybe
I feel
that's
like
why.
after you'd moved out was when around the time when you
Yeah.
started getting into it because of that reason. You got out
Yeah.
from under the house and you started developing your own opinions and whatnot.
Yeah. I started realizing that, maybe capitalism is awesome. And, hell, I don't know.
You're not wrong about that.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a, I would probably say I probably had a lot of the same ideas and I always felt how I felt about certain things. I just didn't realize that I felt so strongly about them, until, the last few years. So there's that.
But yeah, for sure.
So your parent, you grew up in a conservative home. So like why would you say that? I know your dad, so I could kind of see that.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say that there was like the ongoing topic in the house, It just
we're not discussing. Good Jesus, I can't talk. You're not discussing whether or not abortion should be illegal or legal
No,
at the dinner table.
No, of course not. It's just my parents facilitated a more open ideal to what we wanted to learn about.
Yeah, because believe it or not, sorry to interrupt you, but believe it or not, Republicans there's some people on the right that are pretty open-minded, regardless of what the left thinks.
That's what makes them a libertarian, right?
Exactly.
But if you're a libertarian, that means you're conservative. You're conservative, that means you're alt-right. If you're alt-right, that means you're a Nazi. So put that equation together.
Yeah, I don't know. My head's about to explode.
Yeah, I know. That's too much math for me.
So, libertarian plus conservative equals Nazi? What?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how it
Okay.
gets there, but, it's the equation.
Again, I've said it once and I've said it a million times. I'm not good at the math and equations and stuff. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. Was there any other hot topics that you wanted to discuss or anything else that's on your mind besides head pounding?
No, I just feel like death and I want to die.
Oh,
I just want to die. Kill me.
kill me.
Kill me.
Don't do that.
No,
We don't joke about suicide, Nick.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
What did I? Wait.
You just said kill me. I mean,
It's
that's
2000
assisted assisted suicide.
I think it was a.
By the way, how do you feel about that? Now, just briefly, while we're on that topic,
What? Suicide?
well, not suicide, like assisted suicide. So, like, if you've got, I don't know, if someone's in the hospital and they're sick, and they're gonna die. Like they have a terminally ill thing.
Pull the plug.
Yeah, they ask you to pull the plug.
Pull it.
Just
Pull it.
just
Pull it.
kill me. I'm
it.
ordering you to kill. They have you sign something like an e-sign document where they where they ask you to. I hereby give the authority to so and so to pull the plug. That's what's on the paperwork.
So my dad was a combat medic for a little bit in the military, and then my mom's been a nurse for over 35 years. I've been around people who've passed away and been in the hospital on their deathbed, and a lot of times what happens is, you have two different portions of your body that are alive. You have your brain and then you have your heart. And a lot of times people can be brain dead in the hospital, but the heart is still going. So the system is like, well, they're alive, but they're brain dead.
Yeah, but they're really not here mentally.
Exactly. So I think it's important for the family to have time and appreciate the last, moments that they have with their family member. But, at the same time, like all you're doing is keeping the cavity alive.
Yeah.
You can't say that they're suffering. There might be an extent to that with certain circumstances, but at the same time, all you're doing is just keeping the cavity alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
again,
all it's doing is creating just worse and worse emotion, and turmoil.
We're all gonna die, Nick. Believe it or not, we're all gonna die. I may die tomorrow. You never know.
It's true. I might die right after this podcast ends.
Yeah, you might just pull a suicide on the way home. Just drive your car off a cliff.
With the way that my head feels right now, yeah, probably.
That sounds comforting right now. Well, then I guess we can end right there. I don't know.
I think I'm okay
should.
with that. I'd like to have an episode that's a bit longer, but I'm quite literally on the
Nick's
verge
gonna
of dying.
die, and we don't want him to, so we're gonna go put him on his deathbed. And I may be forced with the decision of whether or not to pull the plug.
Pull it.
Pull it. Okay.
Pull it.
No, you hear it. You heard it here, folks. He wants to die.
Pull it.
All right.